Tag with ghosts. When people are still young, they don't quite have the ability to distinguish between what is considered bizarre and what isn't bizarre. Sometimes they may even experience truly bizarre things that they don't even realize at the time shouldn't be. For example, until they are taught by grown-ups that ghosts are things to be feared, many children are not only not afraid of them, they don't even see them as anything strange to begin with. Look back on your own childhood. Perhaps you may dig up a memory or two just like this. It's said that in the South Sea Islands, where Japan took part in fierce battle during the Second World War, traces of those awful days can still be seen. The remnants and remains of those who lost their lives can still be found today, and for the numerous Japanese soldiers who fought there, many did not return home. But it seems that wasn't the end of their story. There are claims that children from the area can be seen playing a game called ghost tag. They imitate the ghosts they see during the middle of the night in the area, and when a Japanese tourist visited the area one day, he saw them playing their strange game. "What are they doing?" he asked. "Oh, they're playing ghost tag," a local replied. This game caught his interest because of what the children were saying. The local children were screaming things like, "Please give me water," and "Sergeant." But it was entirely in Japanese. There was no other way they could have learnt these words other than listening to the cries of the ghosts themselves. Yukari-chan's protective charm. Once upon a time, there lived a young girl called Yukari-chan. She lived alone with her mother and father, but when she was in the 4th grade, Yukari-chan's father suddenly passed away in an accident. After that, Yukari-chan's mother worked day and night to provide for her daughter, and in return, Yukari-chan did the same. She graduated from elementary school at the top of the class, but just before she was due to graduate from junior high, her mother suddenly fell ill. Right before she passed away, Yukari-chan's mother summoned her to her bedside. There was one last thing she wanted to say. "Yukari, I'm sorry that I'll be going on ahead of you. If you're ever in trouble, please open this," she said, and handed her a handmade protective charm. Then she passed away. Yukari-chan then moved in with one of her relatives and attended high school. She put the protective charm her mother made her on her bag and took it with her every single day. "Hey, you always have that charm on your bag," one of the boys at school said one day. "Show it to me." Of course, the charm was incredibly important to Yukari-chan, so she refused. Yet the boy ignored her and yanked it off her bag anyway. Yukari-chan screamed and tried to tell the boy how important it was to her, but he continued to ignore her and opened it anyway. Inside was a letter, but when the boy saw it, his expression suddenly changed to one of mortification. Yukari-chan had no idea there was a letter inside the charm, so she took it back and read it herself. When she did, tears started streaming down her cheeks. It was a simple letter in her mother's handwriting that said one single thing. "Yukari, die." Ski resort. A woman went skiing one day, but as she was on her way downhill, she suddenly realized she needed to go to the toilet. Of course, there were no toilets nearby. They were all at the top of the mountain. Left with no other choice, she crossed over the snow and went into the trees. Once hidden by the trees, she took her ski wear off and did her business. She went to put her clothes back on once she was done, but she lost balance and slipped down the mountain, her bare bottom still out. The woman stuck her hands out to try to break her fall. Her arm hit a tree, and although she was successful in stopping herself, she also broke her arm at the same time. She looked terribly embarrassed once the ski patrol found her, and they quickly put her into an ambulance and rushed her to the hospital. As she waited in emergency to get a cast, a young man with a large cast on his leg hobbled out of the examination room. "Oh no, what happened to your leg?" the woman asked. "You won't believe this," he said. "I was on the ski lift heading towards the top of the mountain when I saw a woman skiing backwards with her naked bum in the air. I was so surprised that I fell off the lift. So, why are you here?" "Eh? Me? I just fell." Don't look at me. A man on his way to work was waiting at the train station one day when suddenly he heard a scream coming from behind him. As he turned around, a high school student ran past him and then jumped onto the tracks, right into the path of an oncoming train. The girl's body was cut up, and as the man looked down from the platform in shock, he saw her head roll nearby. The man froze and was unable to tear his gaze away from the ghastly sight. But then, the girl's eyes suddenly opened, and she looked right at him. "Don't look at me!" she screamed. Phone Service 117. There are a variety of services you can access on your home phone, such as weather information, looking up other phone numbers, or finding out the time. Particularly in this day and age, not many people may find this particular service useful. But either way, if you do call this particular service, you can get the most accurate time available. To reach this service, all you have to do is dial 117. Then you'll hear the voice of a young woman reading out the time. The current time is... And so it repeats, over and over. For many, it's a familiar voice, but at the same time, it's still kind of creepy, and there are no doubt many even today who still don't like it. There's a certain urban legend regarding this number, however. It's said that if you hang up the phone after listening to the service for 117 minutes straight, then you will immediately receive a phone call. The number on the display will be 117. If you answer it, then the woman's voice from the service will speak. Please listen until the end. Only that voice won't be coming from the phone, but rather from right behind you. The Mysterious Bookstore. There's a district in Kanda, Tokyo, that has so many second-hand bookstores that it could almost be called sacred land for book lovers. There are rows of bookstores full of valuable and incredibly old books predating the war, and even if you're not the biggest book fan, digging through what they have available can still be worth a fun day out. There's also a certain legend spoken of about this bookstore district. It speaks of a mysterious store that seems to appear and disappear at will. But even better than that, the books you can find in this mysterious store are the types that many bookworms would die for. One day, a university student majoring in religious studies was asked by his professor to visit this section of town to get a particular book. After visiting numerous stores without luck, he unknowingly came upon the mysterious bookstore. Shinto Buddhist books inside, said a sign at the front of the store. So he went inside, hopeful, but while he found dozens of old and incredibly valuable books, he didn't find the one his professor wanted. The student asked an old man who looked like the owner if they had the book, but he replied they sold that very same book just the other day. Dejected, the student left. The following day, he told his professor about what happened, but surprisingly, the professor was ecstatic. He had stumbled upon the mysterious bookstore. The book was less important than that. The student went back a week later to find the bookstore again, but this time it was nowhere to be seen. It was like it had never existed at all. And After hours of looking for it, the student went home empty-handed. What are the conditions for running into the store? Nobody knows, but if you look around hard enough, maybe one day it'll appear for you too.